All right, everybody. Good morning. What is going on? Happy Saturday. Made it to yet another weekend. And we got another Seattle Seahawks game to talk about tomorrow afternoon. We got the Seahawks. We got the Colts. And we've got a game where I believe that if Seattle wins, they will be either officially a playoff team or so close to officially being a playoff team that you may as well call them a playoff team. So, important game, a game you certainly need to win, and almost certainly the last game on this schedule that you will be able to look at and go, yeah, yeah, we're feeling good. We're feeling real good about this one. We're going to win, feeling confident. I know that I am. I think most Seahawks fans are as well. So let's talk about this one for a little bit here. Going to be kind of hard to talk about these Colts, but we will do our best. Before we go any further into this video, I want to tell you a little bit about my friends over at Sleeper. Let me tell you, if you're not using Sleeper this year for daily fantasy football, you are missing out. Check out the left side of your screen right now. Look at all the great fun stuff you can pick on over there. All kinds of over-unders, pretty much any sport you can imagine. Obviously, we're big fans of football around here. Let's take a look at my entry for this week. I've got Jerry Jeudy going over 34 yards against the Bears. I got Derrick Henry scoring a touchdown against the Bengals. I've got Pat Mahomes going under 241 passing yards against the Chargers. And I have Jason Myers kicking at least 2 field goals against the Colts. So get on over to Sleeper. You can put together an entry just like this. And if you use promo code SBN, you can get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions do apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Check them out and test your football knowledge. So, as we've gone through Seahawks games in recent weeks, I feel like pretty much every week we're talking about a team that we're playing that has had their season at least partially defined by injuries. The Falcons missing their quarterback, missing their right tackle, missing Drake London, their number one receiver, Brandon Dorless. You see how injuries have crippled that team. You look at a team like the Vikings, who we played the week before, down to their third string quarterback, dealing with some stuff on defense, dealing with their entire left side of the offensive line being injured. Even a team like the Titans, who are not good anyway, you're down to nothing at wide receiver because you're talking about no Calvin Ridley. So even on a level like that, those teams are having their seasons defined partially by injuries, but the Colts' entire season has basically been completely defined. And you only really need to talk about the quarterback position. Daniel Jones was playing at a borderline MVP level, one of the best QBs in the league, leading an offense that, according to some metrics, was better than any offense this century, better than the '07 Patriots, better than the '13 Broncos, the best. And now Achilles tear, leg was partially broken in the first place, even before the Achilles tear, and everything has kind of crumbled around that. Jonathan Taylor is still one of the premier running backs in football, but a lot harder for him to get anything done because he doesn't have a good quarterback now. The receivers they had, they're good, but this is not the Vikings or the Bengals or anything like that. They don't have the elite targets the way a couple teams do. So, yeah, it's nice. Alec Pierce, Michael Pittman Jr., Tyler Warren, it's respectable, but it's nothing over the top. So once they lose the good quarterback play, it doesn't hit anywhere near the same. And they didn't just lose their quarterback. They lost a couple months ago, but backup quarterback Anthony Richardson, don't know when he's coming back, but he's not playing right now. They have basically lost their third string quarterback, Riley Leonard, who can technically play, but has no chance of playing well because he has lost his mobility because of a knee injury. And this has left them in a situation where they got to turn to a guy who hasn't played football in almost 5 years. Yeah, Phillip Rivers. Now, as of me recording this video, there has been no confirmation that Rivers is the starting quarterback, and we're probably not going to get any confirmation until kickoff. However, as of right now, it looks like that Phillip Rivers will be the quarterback, And the absolutely massive fallout here, fall off, going from a guy who was legitimately playing at the minimum a Pro Bowl level to Phillip Rivers after almost 5 years out of the NFL. It's hard to calculate. And we've basically never seen anything like this before. I cannot think of another situation where a team dealt with this kind of a massive fall off at the most important position in football. So, what are we getting? Hard to know. Hard to really get a great feel for this one. I don't think anybody out there really knows what to expect, but if it is Phillip Rivers, I look at the clips that we got of his workout in Indianapolis a few days ago. Hard for me to really think that he's going to be able to do much. No zip on the ball, no velocity, just nothing real. Real quick, before I go any further, though, I do want to say I will be doing a watch-along stream of this game tomorrow. I will be going live right around kickoff. I will be doing play-by-play. I will be interacting with chat. We'll be talking about the game as it goes along. So we're going to find out together. So let me just put that out there right now. This is going to be my final watch-along stream of the 2025 season. And we're going to try to make it a good one. So tune in, hang out with me for a few hours, and we'll see what's up. We'll see what this team has for us. We'll see what these Colts have for us. And yeah, just something to keep in mind if you'd like the watch-alongs, because I don't do them very often. But yeah, it's hard to really know what to really anticipate here. This is a Colts team that loves play action. This is a Colts team that depends heavily on beating the blitz. This is a Colts team that is very dependent on running the ball up A gap and B gap. But what does it look like with this new quarterback? Like, are you going to be able to do play action stuff as much with Phillip Rivers out there? You wouldn't think so. Remember, while Daniel Jones was not running as much as he typically did, he is a player that has mobility and uses it. Phillip Rivers has negative mobility. Even in his prime, he had no mobility. At this point, there's nothing there. So you've got no arm, you've got no mobility. All you really have is his mind and a passable understanding of this offense. And when I say passable, just to really quickly go over this, Phillip Rivers, teaching high school football these last few years, he's been running the Colts offense with his high school football team, and he's actually been in contact with the Colts coaching staff. So he does already have a pretty good understanding of how that offense works. It's something that he can lean on. So maybe that helps a little bit, but you are so deficient here with Phillip Rivers compared to literally any other quarterback that you could have that is at least in the NFL right now, that it does illustrate how desperate they are, and it illustrates how, quite frankly, little faith they have in guys like Riley Leonard and Brett Rippon to be able to play quarterback. So there's a lot going on there, and when you're trying to evaluate what you're going to get out of this Colts offense, it's so hard just because of that. Like, yeah, I can sit here and say the Colts have spent all season doing this and that and the other thing. I can tell you that I think that Jonathan Taylor is going to be running the ball up A gap and B gap all game because he always does that. But other than that, what is it really going to look like? But we are going to have to find out the hard way. And hopefully we end up finding out the easy way because the game ends up going really well for Seattle. So I think that's really all I can say about it. I'm expecting a big game from the defense. Rivers cannot push the ball down the field. Rivers cannot fit the ball into tight windows right now. If anything I saw with his workout is even slightly, and I do mean slightly, in line with what we're going to get tomorrow. So, I mean, hey, I certainly don't want to have this Phillip Rivers experiment end in complete and utter disaster. Like, I don't want him getting peeled off the turf and taken off in a stretcher. But I think there should be a certain expectation of some remarkably high-level play and some really, really effective defense. Like, single-digit points again allowed by this defense. And I think we're getting there, people. So feeling good about that. Feeling real good about where this defense is right now. Pretty much everybody out there ready to go. Just go do it. And offensively, Colts defense has been okay. And I will say this. Things are so desperate for Indy right now. Wouldn't shock me if Indy plays above their head in this game defensively, just because they know they have to be perfect to have any chance of winning. So you're going to see a lot of effort there. You're going to see a tremendous drive from Indy to do everything they can to keep the game alive, knowing that any mistake, any slip up, the game might be over. You give up one touchdown in this game, that might be too much. But when you look at it overall, no DeForest Buckner, no Charvarius Ward, no Sauce Gardner. On a talent level, on a personnel level, on a one-to-one level, what can they really do? Those are three of their best players on defense. And that is kind of the core of what they were hoping would keep them competitive for 2025 defensively. Two really good corners and a really good interior defensive lineman. So now you've got a decent edge room. You've got Kwity Paye, who's good. You've got Laiatu Latu, who's been good. And you've got Grover Stewart, a good run-stuffing nose tackle. And other than that, it's fine. I like their safeties. Nick Cross. Zaire Franklin's a nice little linebacker. But it's unremarkable. It's been pretty unremarkable all year. And even when healthy, they've been just kind of sort of, at the end of the day, okay. One thing I like about this Colts team is they get good quarterback pressure without depending too heavily on any one player. It's kind of like Atlanta. Now, the way in which Indy gets pressure is very different. Atlanta loves to blitz. Indy doesn't blitz as much. But in terms of them not having any one over-the-top dominant defensive player, in terms of pressure, similar idea. So I do like that. They do have some quality players, like I said, guys who are not Pro Bowlers, but are still good at their job. But without their two starting corners, because again, understand, Charvarius Ward, Sauce Gardner, that was supposed to be like the the big strength on that defense that would make up for a lot of other stuff. And you're going against the best receiver in football. What do? You're going to have backups out there. Guys like Mekhi Blackman, and maybe if there's some slot stuff going on, Kenny Moore, he's their slot corner. You're going to have stuff like that. But what do you do against JSN? Do you double him? Do you rotate your defense to him every snap? Because earlier this year, I remember when the Colts played the Rams, they absolutely refused to tilt their defense to Puka. Refused to do it. Would not touch it. So what are they going to do this time? Are they going to really go one-on-one and just play straight up against JSN? I wouldn't think so. You might throw three guys at JSN because they're so deficient of talent at cornerback. But what do you really do? Right? Are you going to do that and then let Shaheed maybe beat you over the top? Are you going to leave everyone else in single coverage? Are you going to try to go tit for tat with guys like A.J. Barner and even Cooper Kupp? Probably not a winning strategy either. We are going to be testing that cornerback depth. And while, like I said, I think Indy's going to play over their head because they're desperate, I don't really know how they answer this. This is not the game to be losing your corners. You need your corners when you're playing in this game more than ever. The one mitigating factor here, I do think it'll rain. I'm expecting an ugly game weather-wise. Maybe that mitigates things a little bit. But if the Colts try to play JSN the same way they played Puka, and I have a very hard time believing they're going to do that. If they do that, this could be the game that gets JSN back on track to set the record. So time will tell, but there's no good answer here, right? There's no good answer. All you can do is hope the weather bails you out and you're able to stop the run, which I'm not saying it's impossible, I suppose. But remember, the weather cuts both ways. If it rains, and I think that it will, you're talking about a wounded, reeling Colts offense with 44-year-old Phillip Rivers at quarterback having to play against an elite defense in bad weather. That's not going to go well for him either. Like, you can say that Darnold's going to have problems because of conditions, but I guarantee you the conditions are going to have a bigger adverse effect on Rivers than anything on Seattle's offense. So attack that secondary. You got to play through the weather. Look, I'd love to be able to just get up on Indy and run the ball the whole game and just grind out 6-7 yards of carry the whole game. But that's not what this team has been able to do. Even like I look at a game like last week against Atlanta. That was a great opportunity to just run the ball all day and get an easy win with low variance. And the team, I mean, they did okay, but overall, I would say their rushing attack was very disappointing against a very weak run defense. So you got to embrace it a little bit, and the weather is going to continue to be bad. Like, if this Seahawks team wins the division, they're going to be playing their playoff games at home. January Seattle weather could be bad. If you go on the road, you might be going on the road to a place like San Francisco. Can't count on good weather there. Carolina, can't count on good weather there. Could be talking about going on the road to Philadelphia or Green Bay. Definitely can't count on good weather there. So if you're not going to find a way to run the ball at an elite level, and I do think the running game is getting better, but it may not get to that level fast enough, then you're going to have to play through it. Okay, that's it. That's what I got. I'm feeling something like 27-6 Seattle. I don't see how Indy scores on us. This noodle-armed 44-year-old quarterback should not be able to do anything on this defense. If he does, then something must have went very wrong. If we had the old Pete Carroll defense, then I would be a little bit concerned because Pete did not know how to handle quarterbacks who played like this. And I could see a path. If we had the old Pete Carroll defense being trotted out there, I could see the path to Rivers just getting to dink and dunk the whole game for free and Jonathan Taylor beating us. I do not see the path here. So even if I'm not completely over the top confident in this offense, and I'm still pretty confident in the offense, 27-6, and by the end of the day, Seattle should have that playoff spot locked up or effectively locked up. See you guys later today. Go Hawks. More stuff coming soon.